Welcome back, everybody. It is the Working Brother back at you with another talk. Yet again, Drago Bosnic is here. It is currently 01:25 on Friday, the 26th of December, and we are recording since 10 o'clock officially, because that's 10 last night is when we started recording or planning to record. We just did that one last episode, and this will probably be the last talk of the year. Drago, welcome back. How are you doing?
Great being here as always. And I can finally say once again, long time no see, and actually not be serious. So
yeah, it's a comedy show. Everybody who's new here, hi, welcome. I don't know how you wound up in this corner of the internet, but you are all welcome here. Nothing we say is serious. Anything that has anything to do with reality is purely coincidental. And you can support the Working Brother on Patreon, and you can buy me coffee too if you feel like it. Now, we've got the year in review. I asked Drago, I was like, can you send me a couple of articles that you think stand out that you want to talk about as we look back on 2025? And he proceeded to send well over like 15, 20, 35, 40 articles. I don't know even how many there are. I've got so many tabs open, it's not even funny at this point. We're probably not going to get through them, or we're going to do like a blitz of just like one sentence reviews of every article. But first, let's do a meme. Free RAM. RAM prices, apparently they're still going up. I already disclosed in an earlier talk recording how many RAM I have on my PC, and boy am I thankful that I upgraded the PC earlier this year. Drago, how do you feel about this year in hindsight? Do you think it was a good year?
Yeah, it was great, because it seems to me every next year seems worse. So I'm just going to be thankful for this one.
It was funny. I was talking with a friend, and she was saying that, like, yeah, basically every year it gets worse. I got a video summary here. This is a meme that somebody sent me. We'll turn it down because we don't know. But yeah, this is like a summary of 2025, and it's basically it. I don't know why it's not being full screen like it's supposed to be. In any case, 2025 was a mix of all kinds of emotions. And we've got all kinds of news.
Well,
Drago,
news is about, it's a bit stretching it, because I don't think those are news.
There's nothing new in this world.
Yeah.
Everything's been tried before. But let's start off with some of these articles that you've got here. USAID, what a joke. Criminal organization.
Yeah.
We were telling people before it became cool, but not to pat ourselves on the back. This was like no big surprise, honestly. Anything to add?
I mean, we've been saying it, as you said, for years, Serbia specifically. And as always with conspiracy theories, it actually turns out to be far worse than we thought, because they were using these so-called, even like cancer treatment programs to fund all sorts of democratic processes in the countries that are targeted by freedom and democracy. So, in essence,
25, the year that I decided to make a shirt that said no comment. That sums up this episode, I think, and everything that we're going to cover.
We know that the end is coming because of that.
USAID, man. That's all we need to say about that. Google admits it uses AI. This is like dystopian news roundup of the year, basically.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, all of these articles are just things that Drago has written about, not things that happened outside of things that he's written about. So this is going to be really fun getting into things. Drago, AI, Google.
You know, the interesting thing is, like in the previous episode, we talked about the AI-controlled kill chain. And like I wrote this like a year ago, and it seems to me things haven't changed at all. Like they're only escalating because now the XAI is involved, Anduril, Palantir, and all these other companies that are civilian and they have no idea, they have no connection to kill chains, right? Turns out they are. It turns they have very very close connections with the Pentagon. All of that, for of course, is okay because it's for freedom and democracy. So it's very interesting how Google, this benevolent civilian company, is now uh, integrating itself into the Pentagon. So just keep your data on Google. It's going to be used for good, obviously. So they have nothing to worry about.
And I have nothing to add. The Epstein files released recently. I've been saving this meme. I like your Epstein Files T-shirt. By the way, in case you didn't know, you can select the T-shirt and then copy paste it into a word processor, and everybody's going like, "Oh my God, how could they? They're so stupid, so incompetent." Maybe they did it on purpose. Maybe they wanted you to declassify the declassified stuff. Maybe they left it
Yep.
there as a breadcrumb, with Q and all that. We might have a Q special coming up, so subscribe if you're into that kind of stuff. Um, Overshadowed by Su-57, disgrace F-35 left without airtime in Aero India. That was another highlight. Yeah, they didn't fly in Aero India, and then the British one had to stay there for another month or 6 months or 12 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Long, as
Well, I
long
mean,
as
they
it
don't.
doesn't makes no difference anymore.
Yeah, they don't call it the Hanger Queen for nothing, because it really is a Hanger Queen. Like, to me, it's crazy that you would go from an F-15 or even an F-16 to that thing. Like the F-15, like the newest version of the F-15EX, it's slated to have 20,000 flight hours, and both the airframe and the engines should be able to sustain that much. Which, if you count it, like if you calculate the number of flight hours that every F-15 has per year, you reach the 2080s. So that means for the next 60 years, the F-15EX should be able to fly. On the other hand, like the F-35s are so bad that now you have F-35s which are being retired only after 7 or 8 years of being in service. So like that's how much, like 2 or 3 thousand flight hours, which is like on the level of jets during the 50s and 60s. And the thing is, you pay $150 million for this thing, and for the most part, it doesn't fly. It's afraid of rain, of storms, of lightnings. I mean, considering the fact it's called Lightning 2, that's pretty interesting. So, like, why the hell are you gonna buy this thing? Like, why? Like, why would you acquire a jet that's going to be pretty much limited to the hangar, and you're going to pay a bunch of money for it? So you might as well just buy a MiG-21 or something.
Um, I'm having a dilemma because you obviously want to talk about these articles, and I mean, I don't blame you. They are the highlights of 2025 of stuff that you've written about. But I want it to go much faster. And I'm debating on whether to play some footage of me flying around. I played some the other day in another talk that I did. I'll play some in the background next time you start talking about random topics that nobody cares about because they're old jokes anyway. Zelensky resurrects over 600,000 Russian soldiers. Oh, that was a good one. We covered that one a long time ago. Tell us about the resurrected soldiers.
Well, the Ukrainian, or let's say the Kiev regime Ministry of Defense, right? They said that they killed at least 850,000 Russian soldiers at the time. And it turns out that Zelensky, who went to a NATO conference just 2 or 3 days later, he said that they killed 250,000 Russian soldiers. So that's 600,000 less. In the meantime, the Kiev regime has increased the number of dead Russian soldiers to nearly 2 million now. So yeah, there's that. I guess Zelensky, the necromancer, is doing his thing.
Zelensky the Necromancer. That's a good one. This is me going flying in my little FPV drone that I got recently in the park about 2 months ago. It was fun. Everybody who I show these videos to is like, oh, they're boring. There's no explosions at the end. I'm flying here like we used to fly, trying to avoid things, not trying to hit them. Figured break up this year in roundup with some of that. Let me find those articles again. Did you see that avoiding maneuver? Let's see what else we got here.
You're doing it wrong, man. You should be hitting things.
Right? This should be copyright-free music, so we should be okay for this. Tell us about Rofar while I switch back to this overexposed success flight.
That one is probably the most interesting technology that I've encountered this year, or at least the most interesting new technology. I've been reading about it like for several years. However, like now, it's like a completely different thing, because if it's true, if everything I read about it is true, it's going to revolutionize warfare. And when I say revolutionize, I mean really, really change the whole concept of warfare. Because first of all, we know how radars work. You send a signal, or you radiate a signal, and this signal essentially it detects any flying or non-flying object, and then of course you decide what you're going to do with that. However, it seems to me that the Russians have decided to completely throw out that concept and have focused on what they call the ROFAR, which is essentially the use of light as the emitting source that you're going to use to detect fighter jets. And in doing that, you are pretty much eliminating the very concept of stealth, because the ROFAR can actually help you to see the jet entirely. Like, it can give you the actual image of the jet wherever the hell it is. So this makes it very, very, not just like a very interesting technology, but like a really a new thing that you can use to detect other aircraft. And it works like we don't really know how it works. There are only theories so far. It says, according to several sources I read, that you use a beryllium laser to like emit the light, and of course the light hits the whatever object you're trying to detect, and the return of this light gives you like a complete image of what's really going on. And now, for those who don't think this is real, well, you can actually find images of F-22s and F-35s in what is called the mirror RAM, or it looks like a mirror panels that are put on the jet. And there are people who claim that this is the U.S. essentially trying to figure out how to create a stealth jet against the ROFAR. So it seems to me that the U.S. is already taking these Russian technologies very seriously, and the Chinese are said to be developing a very similar technology, but they don't call it ROFAR, they call it quantum radar. So, I mean, it's a different technology, like it works completely differently from the ROFAR, but the end result is pretty much the same. And this is very interesting, because it seems to me the Russians are once again using revolutionary findings in physics, and they're not focusing on these superconductors and and microchips and very, very like small microelectronics. They're using completely different theories to create new weapon systems, or in this case, detection systems and sensors. So, like, if people are interested in the details, they can read the articles. I mean, I could go on and on like for hours about this thing. It's really incredible.
I was just about to cut you short. NATO effectively admitted a strategic defeat just ahead of SMO's third anniversary. What was this about? Remind us again.
Like this was about the fact that Russia is like outproducing NATO in the most important weapon systems by a factor of three. So that goes to show that all the stories about Russia having the economy the size of Spain, well, that's total bullshit. And like this was what when NATO was talking about it. And the thing is, in the meantime, NATO hasn't done anything or hasn't been able to do anything to address this situation. Russia is still outproducing NATO in all these things. Maybe a bit less because NATO has activated some of the production capacities it has, but this is nowhere near enough to match the Russians. And also this article, the other one that you showed, it's very interesting. Macron is saying he's going to counter Russia in hypersonic weapons and nuclear weapons. I just want to remind people, Russia has 6,000 nukes. France has like 290, and they won't be able to build hypersonic weapons until 2035. Russia has like 24 hypersonic weapon systems right now.
I think the fact you used more than one sentence to deal with the Macron article is like a severe waste of time for the 1 year summary, and we didn't even say anything about his wife. Poll proves 86% of Poles are smarter than the EU NATO leadership. I also remember this one. This is when they said they didn't want to fight with Russia, and their leaders are like all at the same time were saying that they can deal with Russia. But
yeah,
we've gotten used to NATO lies. I'm just gonna close it. France can't deploy new air-launched nuclear tipped missiles before 2035. Yeah. In case you want to read any of these articles, remember the title, check the link in the description, and go search the website. Also, you can find links to Drago's Telegram and stuff also in the description. Oh, this was good.
Oh, yeah. Like, I put the part 3 because the part 2 and 1 are already like part of that article. So if people want to read it, I would highly advise it because both I and the working brother, both of us had the chance to actually participate in the conference for the 26th anniversary of NATO aggression on Serbia, and we were able to hear some incredible stuff from the people who actually went through this and who fought NATO, and this includes Serbian spies who were able to infiltrate NATO headquarters and steal valuable when I say valuable, I mean strategic documents concerning the invasion or the aggression in this case, the bombing months before before NATO was able to commence the bombing. So in essence, if you want to see all the incredible details, I just advise people to read about it.
This is from Tim Kirby. Very true. Eastern Europeans about the duality of being Eastern European. Ties in with what you were just bringing up with the 26-year anniversary of the bombing of Belgrade by NATO. Did Kiev regime plot to kill Trump? Yes, maybe, probably, as part of the CIA, which is also co-opted by the same guys who's Trump's trying to get their defunding with bombing the cartels in Venezuela. Did I get it, more or less?
They didn't. You summed it up. I don't think I have to add anything to that. I just want to add, they also tried to kill Putin once again in the Kursk Oblast, in the area that the Ukrainians invaded and tried to take over, and got 50,000 or 60,000 of them killed for no fucking thing, for no reason. But anyway,
there was a reason. The reason was so that we could understand, so that the whole world would understand what happens when the UK army goes up against Russia. The UK army being 50 to 60,000 people, and that is how many people the Ukrainians lost in the Kursk
in about
incursion.
2 months.
Basically. Moving right along swiftly, we're about 20 minutes in, and we've still got like 70 more articles of Drago's top 10. Former Ukrainian pilots keep dying pointlessly. NATO jets nearly twice their age. I don't remember this headline. That's hilarious. You want to tell
Well,
us?
I mean, it is
It covers it.
hilarious. It's incredible. Like I was mentioning, like this was like the fifth or sixth F-16 that got that had a sudden malfunction, obviously over Ukrainian airspace. This tends to happen, when you fly close to Russia, I guess, or actually not that close to Russia because this was not really close to Russia. Um, so in essence, the pilots are very, very lucky if they can bail out before they get detected by the Russians, because if they don't, suddenly this hypersonic missile that the Russians don't have and that they stole from the Americans uh, comes along, very, very fast. I presume that's what hypersonic means, right? And most of these jets that the Ukrainians are flying, somehow, for some reason, their RWRs, which means radar warning receivers, don't fire off, meaning they have no alarm or anything warning them that they're being targeted. And by the time the missile reaches them, they're dead pretty much. So you have no time to eject because this is like a Mach 6 missile, which is around 7,500 kilometers per hour. So yeah, good luck with that.
Um, Air war over Ukraine heating up. This is the Polish
That ties into that. Yeah.
plays. These people are really pushing their luck. It's good that Russia's testing those long-range air-to-air missiles. Trump's Golden Dome, another SDI, irrevocable militarization of space, a strategic defense initiative. Is that like Star Wars?
Yeah, that's the Star Wars, which turned out to be a total lie.
It
Because
turned
the
out to
U.S.
be
has,
less real than the movie.
yeah, pretty much. Like the SDI was supposed to be like this super high tech program that was supposed to shoot down Russian ballistic missiles, and it turns out it couldn't do anything because it didn't exist, and it never really went further than the drawing board. On the other hand, the Russians launched their own space laser called a Polyaskiv, which was, as I said, not just launched, but it was actually used. So it's an incredible thing. The Americans usually build something in their movies or on their drawing boards and stuff like that, or in 3D because they were the first to have 3D. And the Russians go and build the actual thing. So I guess, the Russians don't have the technology.
Speaking of air-to-air missiles, this was another highlight. If you're a military
Yep.
buff, this was what, the 350 plus kilometer air-to-air shot.
Yep. It was
How good
most
is my?
likely not even the R-37M, which is like probably at this point the most successful air-to-air missile in the world. But this was something new called the Izdelia 8110. Some people call it the R-47, some call it the R-97. I've seen a bunch of like different sources call it differently, but the internal designation is Izdelia or item 8110. And it was specifically made for the Su-57. And this missile for the Su-57 has a range of at least 400 kilometers. Some say 450 or more. And of course, it's about several very important, prominent sources in Russia, including John Helmer, who is an Australian, um, well, let's say, journalist who lives in Moscow and has been in Moscow like an expat since the 1980s. And he has very, very good connections within the Russian Air Force or aerospace forces, as they're called officially. And he has heard them say that some F-16s have been shot down from more than 350 kilometers away. And of course, the Ukrainians will never say, and NATO will never say, oh, it was shot down by the Russians. They will say, oh, it was an accidental shoot down by the Patriot.
It's
So
Russian
yeah,
propaganda, comrade.
yeah,
I'm going to call
yeah, of
this the
course,
Russian propaganda summary of 2025.
pretty much.
Because everything I've heard from you today has been Russian propaganda. Do you want to get
Yep.
into this little PAKFA 257
Oh yeah. Oh
infographic
yeah.
that you
Like,
sent along?
oh man, like, should I do it? Like, because it's gonna like take 2 hours to. Oh, okay, that's the most interesting thing. What we see there, it says Brahmos NG. Like, that's pretty much how the Brahmos missile looks like. What people don't know is that Brahmos was based on the P-800 Onyx, which is the Russian anti-ship missile that's launched from the K-300 Bastion P. So the interesting thing is, people often think when they talk about the Zircon, which is the Russian hypersonic anti-ship missile, multi-role effectively, but not just anti-ship. What they think is like it has a pointy, like tip. As the dictator would say, it has to be pointy, right? So the thing is, what we know so far is that externally the Zircon looks exactly like that missile, like the Brahmos. Like, it actually looks exactly like that. And there's a version of the missile that was developed specifically for the Su-57, which means it can fit into the internal weapon space. So if this is true, this would mean that the Su-57 can launch missiles with 2,000 kilometers range, and that are also hypersonic, flying at almost Mach 10. So can you imagine a stealth a stealth aircraft that fires hypersonic missiles? Well, I mean, I guess the F-35 can do that as well, right? The only thing they need, the U.S. needs, is to build a hypersonic missile, which is going to be very soon, by the 2040s, I guess.
It's all relative, man. Time is relative, so
there
it's
it
just
is.
there's Delia, yeah, 810.
Is Delia 8110? That's the one that goes 400 kilometers, and that's the one that was used in the shoot down of the F-16 that was supposedly shot down by the Patriot. So,
Okay, we've covered that. Russian military keeps turning overhyped HIMARS into useless scrap. That's like weekly news.
yeah,
Modi stresses importance of Russian S-400 for India's security, and then he got some more.
yep.
Um,
It's so bad that they had to get more, and the same goes for the Su-30 MKI.
right? It was definitely like a marketing campaign provided for by the CIA. Via Pakistan. First success for Kiev's regime's F-16. What?
That was the first success. That was the first instance of those half a dozen to a dozen F-16s that were shot down. That was the first, and so far the only instance that a pilot managed to bail out. So that was a success. The pilot survived. I don't know how.
Moving
but
on.
He did.
Moving on. Su-35S 57M1 KS-172 Russian VKS in a new era of air dominance. You're
Yep.
saying they have very nice missiles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I guess the top 10 idea wasn't clear to you, but I can't blame you. All of these are worth having one last giggle in 2025.
Like half of those are Iskander's obliterating HIMARS. So, and like those are only those with the videos. Like, I didn't even use the ones where the Russian army doesn't provide videos. So only if we count the videos, there's like 40 HIMARS destroyed so far.
How much video do you think there is that the Russians are keeping for like after it's all over?
I hope at least 2,000.
There's many. I'm sure, because I've seen videos of like a drone filming a drone getting hit by another drone. And there's like videos of some of these assaults that are like from 3 or 4 different perspectives. So there's gonna be a lot of footage at the end of this. Why Russia needs nuclear-tipped air-to-air missile?
For those who don't know, the R-37M, which I talked about, was actually based on a missile that's called R-33, and the R-33 has a variant which is nuclear-tipped. So in case anyone thinks you can fight and you can establish air dominance over Russia, imagine the next scenario. There's a MiG-31 that can carry 4 of these things. You send an armada of hundreds or thousands of NATO jets, and the MiG-31, just one of them, with 4 of these missiles can wipe out entire air armies. So yeah, just go ahead.
We'll
Invade
leave
Russia,
that to
man.
your imaginations, viewers, and we've got to keep going because there's still there's so many tabs in this window that I can't even see how many tabs. And there's when they become so small that you can't even see the thing where you're clicking. That's how many tabs we've got to get through. This is a world record. We will definitely go over the hour for this end of year special. How do you negotiate with someone who keeps trying to kill you?
Yep, this was an attempt on Putin's life, specifically on the helicopter, when he was visiting the liberated Kursk Oblast.
That was when they had the guys behind enemy lines when some missiles were shot from somewhere and it was supposedly clear territory, but they had a DRG group which we didn't know whether it was infiltrated or had stayed behind in some basement.
Yeah,
I remember that. Patriot SAM systems, Wunderwaffe no longer. Yeah. Wunderbar. I don't think they ever were. I think the Saudis proved that the Patriots are shit when the Saudis used them to defend that oil refinery and God knows how long ago, and the Iranians sent drones
not just
1.0.
Not just oil refineries, they also use them to defend against Iraqi Scuds. And it turns out the Patriot was just as shitty as it was 30 years ago. So, yeah.
The British giving nukes to neo-Nazis and dreaming of fighting Russia and China while making drone suicide pirate boats.
Yeah.
It is the British who are behind all these pirates.
Yeah, well, I mentioned they have this document that's very similar to the U.S. national security strategy. Well, theirs is called the Strategic Defense Review. And they think they can take on Russia, and not just Russia, also China, obviously, because, why would you go against the bear when there's also the dragon standing next, right? And you are the British lion that really looks like a pussy cat, or maybe the cat is redundant. I don't know. So in essence, if people are interested in insanity, they should read that and see how normal the UK planners are.
On its air bases.
Yeah.
Iskander 3000. I'll leave a link. U.S. rages at India.
Yeah.
Tough luck.
We talked about that already.
Yeah, tough luck. I guess I clicked on it twice. Kiev regime fakes Iskander M destruction while its forces get obliterated. Yeah, they have fakes of all kinds. They also still use video games and what's it called, AI.
Yeah, they claim to have shot down the Su-35S, just like they claim they've destroyed the Iskander, of course, without any proof. But it gets crazier because later on they claim to have destroyed the Oreshnik as well. So there were several of these PR victories that they conducted.
It's obvious by the reality on the front that they're winning. America's ICBM boondoggle just keeps getting worse. Gosh darn it.
Yeah.
They're boondoggle.
They have 450-year-old ICBMs or 60-year-old ICBMs at this point. They're called the
I thought you were going to say 450-year-old ICBMs, but yeah, no.
Well, they might as well be, because the interesting thing about the Minuteman III ICBMs that they have, all the people who worked on them, all the people who maintained them, they're either dead or long retired. So now they don't even know how to maintain these things. They have to replace them as soon as possible with the new ones, Sentinels. The problem is they can't do it before 2035, maybe 2040, because they no longer have the people who have the experience to build new ICBMs. ICBMs
Are you sure it's not because they can't find that floppy disk drive to save the file? Because I saw that video from 15 years ago, where all the U.S.'s nuclear arsenal is basically running on floppy disks, and not even the small floppies, the big floppies.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is, like, they literally have the Windows XP, like that's the newest system that the U.S. Air Force uses for its ICBMs. So yeah.
Europe's troubled next-gen fighter programs facing delays and disunity. No surprise there. Not even worthy of like the top 25.
And we talked about it already. So yeah.
Yeah. Did America really destroy Iranian nuclear facilities? Dun, 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 dun. This is the story of 2025. Did
Like
it happen,
this is one of the
or
most
was it all imaginary and CGI?
like this is probably one of the most consequential articles I've written in 2025, because I managed to prove that they didn't do it because there was no radiation, and the radiation was supposed to be like 20 times worse than in Chernobyl. And I actually got the chance to talk to, when I was in China, I had a chance to talk to the head of the Pugwash nuclear center in Argentina. I'm not going to mention her name. I don't want her to go through any troubles. And they also have rotation, so they can't know who exactly was it. So the interesting thing is, this person, she's a scientist. Obviously, there's a bunch of scientists in that center. She confirmed that this is true, and she's a nuclear physicist and also a professor at several global universities, including one in China. So she confirmed what I said in the article. She said there's only 3.67 or something like that of uranium enrichment in nuclear fuel for regular nuclear power plants. The Iranian uranium, talk about a tongue twister, had about 60% between 60 and 65% of enrichment. So that means if the Chernobyl was such a disaster, then if the this Iranian enriched uranium was destroyed, it would have been like 20 times worse than what we saw in Chernobyl. And there was no radiation whatsoever, so that means they didn't hit anything.
Also, their bunker busters can't penetrate granite that deep. And I understand these are granite mountains. Also, the holes pictured here are not all one hole, so it didn't double tap anything. And also, there were no actual flights over Iran, let alone the fact that Iran actually has anti-air and all those other kind of real things. But the good part is that now that the nuclear sites are destroyed, Netanyahu doesn't have a reason to bomb Iran again. Although he's
but they keep saying, they keep saying
for ballistics, I was just going to say.
Yeah, like they keep saying that the Iranians have rebuilt, right? So Iranians seem to be very capable people, it seems to me.
Bad news for NATO, as Russia now has a stockpile of Oreshniks. I think that covers it.
I said it back in July and June, in like 2 or 3 articles. I chose that one because there's no point in like putting all of them. So like people were saying that this is like Russian propaganda. Now they're not, saying that anymore. I guess they're right.
Russian propaganda is a matter of perspective within time. Like all truth, it takes time to be accepted, and Russian propaganda is generally based on truth. U.S. Air Force effectively admits it lied about 6th-generation jets. We covered this. Nobody's surprised. Also, this new B-21, I've seen some videos of it. It looks not impressive.
I just have to briefly criticize the guys who put the image, because nowhere in the article did I mention B-21 or the B-2. For some reason,
did both times.
They thought,
I did both times. It's okay.
Yeah.
But it's still a funny airplane and a funny story. Russian-Indian military alliance breaking records day by day. This could be the highlight of. Could be like a running title in 2025. We covered that story a couple of times. U.S. admits patriots are useless, but Trump forces EU to buy more for the Kiev regime. We don't arm
Yep.
the neo-Nazis. We make the Europeans buy our arms and then arm the Nazis. It's business.
Yep.
Nothing
Well,
personal.
he said it. Like it's not even a fucking conspiracy theory. He actually said it. So
Lindsey Graham, this guy who from Israel is saying that Venezuela needs regime change and Netanyahu needs his oil.
Like I
Go
advise
find the
people to
article.
read it because
Yeah.
like this guy, I don't know like how to describe it.
Just go read the article. The Russian long-range strikes obliterate foreign assets in NATO-occupied Ukraine. By NATO
Including
assets,
the HIMARS.
yeah. Surprise! Story of the year.
Like I actually mentioned, I posted videos of the HIMARS, the Patriot, and several other of these democratic systems that are destroying Russia. Yeah.
Trying to. How viable is the U.S. NATO's threat of faster than ever takeover of Kaliningrad? Kaliningrad, for those that don't know, is this Russian enclave or exclave. I think it's technically called an exclave.
Yeah.
Surrounded by freedom-loving former Nazi European states. And just the nuclear arsenal that is stationed in Kaliningrad has the capacity to wipe out all of the capitals of Europe. I think we discussed. Once. That's without any like support from motherland Russia, which is just over here.
They can't. They just can't reach Madrid, I think, and Lisbon. Losers, I guess. So.
So really, they can't. They need their submarine forces for that.
Yeah, probably.
France could probably help. Russia obliterates 3 patriots as neo-Nazi junta. More patriots, more Nazi European weapons. Another sudden technical malfunction. This was hypersonic effects of glide vehicles.
Yeah. These are the new Mirage 2005. So yeah.
The new ones that I found out are from the 70s. When we did the original, it was like Mirage 2025. Major success for the F-35. 40 days in an Indian hangar. They should make a movie. It could be called The Success of the F-35. Russia responds with hypersonics to Trump's 10 days threat theatrics.
Do people remember this when Trump said Russia has 10 days to do this or that? And then Russia said, yeah, sure. So.
I think that was when they double tapped some bunker that was like 70 meters underground. Yeah, that's what that was about.
Yeah, well, they gave a heads up to the NATO officers. They had about 20 seconds to get out of there. They didn't, I guess.
It's those famous ski accidents in the Caribbean. India officially rejects crash-prone F-35. Nobody was surprised.
By the way, every single time when India decided to reject the F-35, I wrote an article about that. So there's like 5 of them. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't click again on the links. These are different articles, but the story keeps happening. India likes to get in the news. Russia ends unilateral INF treaty. Intermediate nuclear forces, something like that.
Intermediate nuclear forces treaty, which banned all weapons between 500 and 5,500 kilometers in range. And after the U.S. decided to put its own previously banned missiles, Russia decided to give a bit more range to the Iskander. So if you think Iskander is scary at 500 kilometers range, try like 3 times more than that. So yeah.
Iskander K, also known as the Iskander 3000. We did an episode. There will be a link somewhere. Also, fun fact for the Serbians, that means they can reach Serbia now with their Iskanders. Looking forward to some Kinjals at Bondsteel. Everybody wants some Kinjals at Bondsteel.
You mentioned the Iskander 1000. That's the official name of the Iskander 1000, 9M723S.
All right. Excellent. Go read about it if you're interested in the details. Neo-Nazi junta forces again. Foreign mercenaries hypersonic rendezvous with Iskanders. This keeps happening. It's like they're not learning that this option exists. Pentagon effectively confirms Golden Dawn will breach outer space treaty.
Yeah, they did that as they were complaining about Russian space nukes. Like that's the exact quote: Russian space nukes.
Russian space nukes. I just can't wait for that Russian anti-satellite laser to get operational, so they can take down
it already
Starlink.
Is,
No, but like
anyway.
operational, not like operational there, but like in operation. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Operating. Let's. Maybe I should have said operating. Oh, another HIMARS.
But more importantly than the HIMARS, the Ukrainians tried to copy the Russian Iskander, and they called it the Sapsan. And before the Ukrainians were able to put it online or put it in service, the Russians destroyed it. So that was interesting.
Destroyed it with an Iskander. Close to 2 million Ukrainian soldiers dead, leaked data shows. When is this? August?
Yep. It's been a bit more since then.
We were saying 1 million was the number like 2 years ago, probably. So to say that 2 million is the official number now is still a little weak, in my opinion. I am afraid that it is a much bigger number. But like we said,
back in August, it was exactly 1.8 million. Those who were officially dead or missing, and when somebody's missing like for 2 years in a war zone, the likes of the Ukrainian one, you don't put your hopes up that they're alive. So essentially, we could say it's 1.8 million dead people. And as you said, that was back in August. And there's been a few more since then, or should I say a few dozens of thousands, because for those who don't believe this, I suggest you look at the official statistics of the exchange rates for bodies between the Russians and the Ukrainians. Oftentimes you have like 15 Russians and 1,000 Ukrainians. So do your math.
Also, this keeps happening. The fans of nuts keep sending people to shoot their own people who want to retreat when they're sent into suicidal places. So they switch sides, which kind of makes sense.
There's a video for people who don't believe this. There's a video. It's in one of the links.
A video?
There's a video showing Ukrainians trying to fall back to another defensive position, and the guys behind them who are not fighting, they're there just to shoot them in the back. They start shooting at them, and what the Ukrainians who were actually fighting did, well, they called the Russians, and then the Russians sent some drones to kill the guys shooting, the Ukrainians who were actually fighting. Several
videos. It's been a fun year, 2025. Lots of things happened. Yep. Colossal industrial scale warfare, NATO orchestrated Ukraine conflict. It's crazy how drones have become everything, basically, in modern warfare.
Not just the drones, but artillery and stuff like that. Like the Russians have proven that they have the dominance in artillery. And the crazy thing about it is artillery still dominates, like it kills like 80% of soldiers on both sides. But the thing about the drones, they now act as force multipliers, making almost every artillery shell almost like guided. I'm not going to say guided, but almost guided. So it's far more, it's far deadlier. Artillery is now deadlier because of the drones. So the drones don't even have to kill a person directly. All they have to see is scan. All they have to do is scan the battlefield, and that's what makes them deadlier than anything else.
Just like for recon, basically, because what you're saying is that they don't have to, take out a whole area with the drones. They have more precise targeting coordinates. Here's some video of me flying around. I'll let you guys enjoy that in the background while we check over to the next of these articles. Neo-Nazi junta keeps murdering Ukrainian soldiers trying to surrender.
Yeah.
That's what we were just saying. The scanner obliterates the Neptune. One more for these guys.
For those who don't know, the Neptune is the Ukrainian version of the Soviet KH-35. It's like it was used as an anti-ship missile, but now it's like multi-role.
Multi-role, just like my flying here. Check out this proximity. This is a park, by the way, in Belgrade. Nice views, no gore. Again, this music should be copyright free. China deters U.S. aggression by expanding its already impressive hypersonic arsenal.
Yeah, like there's around a dozen, there were at the time around a dozen hypersonic weapons that the Chinese unveiled, demonstrating that they're about 10 to 15 years ahead of the United States and maybe about 5 years behind Russia. So
I think you definitely got some Chinese propaganda in you when you went to China recently.
Yeah. They paid for it. They pay good.
S-400, Su-57, and possibly even Tu-160, and S-500 set new milestone in Russia-Indian ties. This is what we were talking about earlier.
Yep. And obviously, the webmaster put a wrong jet there. That's the Tu-22M3. But anyway, they never listened to my complaints about wrong weapon systems that they put on the on the images. But yeah,
I can see it. It bothers you.
It bothers me like more than anything else. Like
I'm starting to see that there's more than 25 tabs here. So we've still got to keep going through this. We're about 51 minutes in. New temporary deployment of U.S. Typhoon in Japan escalates tensions with China.
The reason why I put this article is I actually had the chance to talk about this to one of the Chinese professors of security at the Beijing University, and a guy who actually worked in their Ministry of Defense. And he agreed with me, and he knew everything about it. But despite the fact that he knew about it, he still talked about the need to denuclearize, to remove all nuclear weapons, which to me is incredible. Like the Chinese are still talking about the need for disarmament or nuclear disarmament in this case. And here's the U.S. sending new nuclear-tipped missiles to Japan to nuke China. Like because from Japan you can reach Beijing in like 10 minutes. So it's incredible, really. The different way of thinking between the U.S. and China, it's really interesting.
I think suicidal is the word you're looking for.
Yeah.
In the sense that Japan is being suicidal. EU surcharges for war. Bundeswehr to quadruple. Poland training mothers. Mothers? I don't remember this article.
Poland is training mothers to fight the Russians, the evil Russians, because the Russians are eating babies, according to recent articles by British media. Obviously, very, very intellectual, highly academic media. Because the Russians lack food, they're now eating Ukrainian POWs and dead Russian soldiers. And of course, they're also preparing to eat Polish babies, and the mothers have to defend them. So that's about it. And of course, the Germans are going to help Poland as they did many, many times in history.
So they're learning to fly FPV, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah. They wish. They're training them with rusty AKs. So
made in the Soviet Union. Western media keeps breaking records in ludicrous Russophobic propaganda. I don't think anything needs to be said.
Yeah.
Russophrenia. We already discovered Schrodinger's Russia.
Yeah.
F-35's delays and troubles keep getting worse as Chinese-Russian jets zooming past indeed. Pakistan and BRICS, perspective and possibilities. Interview with caretaker PM. You want to give us the rundown of what happened?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it.
Here.
This was one of the highlights. I actually met the guy accidentally I also met the Chinese foreign minister Mr. Wei. So it was a very interesting meeting, and we sort of like organized this ad hoc interview about Pakistan's BRICS, let's say, accession, which of course is not very easy to accomplish because of their relationship with India. And I thought if I could get an interview, we could really like try to accelerate this process. And I don't know if we did. I just I had to shoot my shot, and it was very interesting. It was a very good conversation. If people are interested, they can read about it.
Or they can pause here as I scroll
Yeah.
past. I usually do that with all of the articles so that if they do get deleted from the internet, they'll be also deleted from YouTube.
Yeah.
2025, the year of AI and censorship. Oops, I closed 2 tabs by accident.
I don't think we've missed anything.
It's Gather Up Smokes
It's
another high
probably
Mars.
like 2 HIMARS, one next to each other.
Hold on. Let's see if I can recall that. Reopen close tab. Let's see what it was about. No, it actually wasn't about HIMARS. Let's put it back here. Another fantastic idea from the Russophobic in the UK. Choke Crimea to death. These guys, man. It's like war crime factory. Did we ever find out?
Don't say that. Like, the UK is an old democracy. Come on.
Yeah, democracy ruled by a king, where people are subjects. We did the HIMARS thing. We're getting down to the last 20, believe it or not. We've already done an hour of this. This is your Working Brother Talks summary of Drago's best articles of 2025. Well, I actually said that with all the correct words.
This is my second part, and you can find the first part, obviously, in this article of my trip to China. And it really was one of the most memorable things that I've done ever. Of course, the Chinese paid very good money for me to talk nice about them, because they're actually
Where's
horrible
my
people,
Chinese money? Tell them to send me some Chinese money. I accept all kinds of money.
I will.
Right?
I will tell them. Yeah. I'm going to blackmail them by saying like they're terrible people now, so we're going to remove that part if they send you the money. So yeah.
Exactly. Seriously though, if you feel like giving, for links in the description. North Korea adopts another hypersonic weapon, outpacing anything U.S. can field. North Korean propaganda.
Yeah. This is specifically the Hwasong 11B, and it's a weapon that the U.S. can only dream about, because this is actually more advanced than the Dark Eagle, and of course, the Americans don't have anything like that, at least for now. While the North Koreans are actually fielding like 5 or 6 such systems, which is pretty interesting, because I don't know how the North Koreans stole American tech, but they did, I guess.
All right. I had a little technical malfunction here. We'll see if I need to go edit that in post or not. In the meantime, let me see here what's going on with our next article. Ukrainian general inadvertently debunks Kiev regime's 500 overnight shootdowns propaganda.
This is very similar to what we talked about, and this Ukrainian general actually said, after the Ukrainian army said that we shot down 500 Russian cruise missiles and drones, he said our air defenses can shoot down only 6% of all air targets. So yeah.
Has he been visited by the corruption people?
Yeah. After that, 100%.
Snabu or whatever they're called. I need to take a break. This was sent in. It's always the same story. I can't comment on it. Hence the t-shirt, no comment. But I think that's enough comedy for right now. Let's get back to the news. And by news, I mean roundup of 2025. Is NATO really 25 times bigger and infinitely? It actually says infinitely superior to the Russian military? No, is the short answer. No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much. And the interesting thing is, it's the same guy who said that Russia is dominant and that NATO cannot win against Russia. He was now saying, like, this was relatively recently, I think October. He was saying that NATO is 20 times or 5 times more powerful than Russia. So yeah, interesting.
No comment. Moving right along. More Iskanders, more Patriots, and HIMARS. It's a recurring theme.
Yeah,
Um, so 2025 was the downfall of the HIMARS. I would say Sheikh Imran Nazir Hussein pioneered
yeah.
interfaith dialogue and reconciliation. You met him, and then you were lucky enough to have a chance to organize for me to meet him, and then I was lucky enough to meet him as well. So we met
As
him,
well
and
as
you
our
actually,
friend, the florist. So
yes,
all three of
he
us managed
also.
to, yeah, we managed to have separate interviews with Imran Hossein, and this is incredible. Sheikh Hussein actually dedicated his entire afternoon, or was it I think it was at the afternoon. I forgot the exact time, but he gave like most of his time to us that day. And considering his busy schedule, that was a very, very, very nice thing of him. And the most important thing, of course, is what he said. And he showed an incredible understanding of not just faith and religion and stuff like that. He also understood the economy, the financial system, and so on and so on. And I advise everyone to read that and also to watch the interviews he did with the Working Brother and XF.
I will leave a link to that Working Brother talk interview in person that I did with him and Drago present and XF there in the background. And I will also advise you to go check out the Drago Bosnic links below if you want to read his more intellectual and, how can I say, professional interview of the Sheikh. Moving right along, Russia demonstrates why why it would be best for U.S. to negotiate another START. Um,
Yeah. For those who don't know, Russia actually was launching some of its strategic nuclear weapons. And for those who don't know as well, February 2026 is going to be the year when the last arms controls treaty, the new START, expires. And if Russia and the US don't negotiate a new one, we're going to have a new nuclear arms race. And of course, that's going to mean
things to
the
look forward
return to
to.
the 80s.
Things
Yeah.
to look forward to in 2026.
Yeah. Yeah. More nukes.
Nuclear,
Yeah.
more nukes and nuclear testing. Yippee! Um, I've got some memes here. I have to pop up a meme. Um, we're gonna do American geography. It's called the Midwest, but it's in the Northeast. Americans in the geography. They never were a good pair. Um, moving right along, we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 12 more of these to get through. Serbia and Russia strengthen ties despite constant NATO pressure. What? But the
Um,
Serbians are selling weapons to people who are selling weapons to shoot Russians, and the Russian KGB said that
I
I
was
don't know.
actually present during this manifestation, as it's called in Serbian. So this was like the opening of the Russian Historical Society
Conference,
in Serbia.
maybe.
Uh, yeah. Well, it was a very interesting thing because one of the speakers, although it was online, was Sergei Narishkin, the head of the Russian SVR, which is like the one of the successor agencies of the KGB. So it was very interesting. Why would the SVR want to participate in something like this if Serbia is an enemy of Russia? So, according to some um, pro-Western media in Serbia, or we could call them puppets, but let's say pro-Western. Let's say they believe what they say. They're not paid to do it. So they were claiming that Serbia and Russia are now enemies. Well, it didn't seem to me that was the case when I went there. And when the entire Serbian political leadership was present during the opening of this Russian Historical Society in Serbia.
Seems like more Russian propaganda,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
fake news, and the like. Religion, economy, multipolarity, BRICS interview with Sheikh Imran Hussein. Um,
yeah,
I feel like that might have been my photo.
yeah.
I
That
think
was your photo, actually.
I
Yeah.
think BRICS owes me like credit here. It should say photo by working brother. No, I'm joking. I really don't care. But yeah, check out this article. Also, find it in the links below. When you follow the links, go to BRICS, look for Sheikh Imran, and you'll come across it. What makes Burevestnik so dangerous? Burevestnik being that nuclear-powered, infinite-range, nuclear-tipped cruise missile, right?
Exactly, exactly. You
I
summed
don't
it
know
up.
what I don't know what any of those words would make it dangerous. None of those words sound dangerous to me.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds bureaucratic and very weak. It means because it's Russian, it must be weak. So there's no danger from this at all. This is just Russian propaganda. I advise anyone with any intention to attack Russia to do it as soon as possible. Nothing bad will happen to you.
Yeah, we've all seen how that goes. Plus, if you
Yeah,
try, you might get a fully unprovoked invasion. Um,
yeah, yeah. But
as
you know what? You get the participation trophy just like Zelensky does all the time. So that's great.
we all know how West likes its participation trophies. That was a good one, Drago. That was good. Russia keeps improving Iskander. Come on with these Iskander stories, man. Like, can we first of all explain to people that Iskander is not one missile? It's like a family of missiles.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
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 the craziest part, again, my webmaster, that image doesn't show either the Iskander or the Tornado S. It shows a completely different system called the Uragan or the Hurricane 1M. And for some reason, like of the several missile systems that he could have put there, he put the one that I never mentioned. So thanks,
um,
webmaster.
he wants a shout out. Just give him a shout out next
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I'll leave it in the description that I write up on Telegram. We'll do like a shout out to Drago's webmaster special episode. Moving right along, young Ukrainians flee suicidal military tactics while Kiev regime targets Hungary and Romania. Let me do my like psychic reading of what this article is about. The Ukrainians are hitting the oil that is going, or the heating gas that is going to Hungary and Romania, and telling them that they are Russian puppets while they are using this for heating. And young Ukrainians, young quote unquote, have been allowed to finally leave, so they're leaving in masses, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, like anyone who's younger than 20, I think 22 or 24, I have to recheck the exact age, has a chance to, just go because as soon as they lower the conscription age, that's it. You are, let's say, denazified before you realize it. So, yeah,
Oh, more Iskanders. Um, Neo-Nazi junta escalates PR victories, destroying Russian Oreshniks and Iskanders.
I don't know if people remember, but at the time when Mirnograd and Pokrovsk were happening, which is like two cauldrons where the Ukrainians pretty much lost 10,000 soldiers because, I mean, they didn't die, but they were like in the cauldron. At the time, the Ukrainians announced that they destroyed an Oreshnik in a secret special operation within Russia. Obviously, they provided exactly zero evidence, but
I remember
it
that.
was
I
everywhere.
remember that. It was like a 6-month operation that was undercover, and
Yeah.
they poured some fuel on some gas tank of the truck, and it exploded or something like that.
Yeah,
And
and destroyed the
and other
Oreshnik, obviously.
other bedtime
Yeah,
stories for NAFO children. Um,
yeah,
they're nice, these bedtime stories. Evangeline Jolie, not safe under propaganda tour. Imagine how it feels for regular Ukrainians. Um, is this
yeah,
one? What? This is new. This is November 6th. Relatively
yeah.
new.
This is relatively new, and this was when one of her bodyguards or drivers, whatever,
Oh, that's
like
right.
uh,
Did
like he was
the-
actually taken by the TCC being like these voluntary recruitment offices, and they took the guy, and then she had to go and and bail him out. So you can imagine that Ukraine is winning. Their casualties are just 46,000 soldiers, as Zelensky says, and the Russians have lost 25 million soldiers. Yeah, so
Fun fact, I think he was actually mobilized after she left. Um,
most likely.
in any case, French Le Monde acknowledges Russia's military superiority over EU NATO. Le Monde.
Yeah.
Oldie Frenchy Zionisty news. Reliable, eh? By the way, Drago's muting himself because he's also got that sore throat we mentioned earlier.
I'm still
both him,
coughing.
both him and I are sick or under the weather, but we're actually getting better. We were much worse before.
A lot better.
They've been spraying the whole Balkans for the past week and a half. It's been like this unbelievable chemical fog everywhere from I don't know, former Yugoslavia to former Yugoslavia, basically. It's purely
Russian propaganda and conspiracy theorists, man. We all know that it's all because of our sprawling industry that keeps pumping out all this gas.
You are obviously a shill paid for by the EU. Pokrovsk, yet another city that suddenly lost its strategic value in the eyes of CNN. The eyes of CNN. Who gives a shit about CNN these days?
Well, not just the CNN. It's also the BBC and all these other democratic news agencies. Pokrovsk, Minograd, previously Avdiivka and Bakhmut and all these other areas. They don't really matter, It's just Ukrainians they're winning backwards, and the Russians are losing forward. So yeah.
Neo nuts. Attempt to hijack MiG-31K with Kinjal betrays PR desperation. Was that when they tried to get that pilot to turn sides?
Yeah.
We didn't actually talk about this, and I didn't hear about your write-up, but do tell us what happened.
Well, they tried to repeat what they did, back in 2022. 2022, I think. So they tried to pay off the guy, and then they sent two girls to to give them money. So in the end, the Russian intelligence not only managed to prevent the plot from happening, they also got some money from the EU. Because the EU and NATO are financing democracy in Ukraine, and this money was supposed to be used to pay off the pilot. And it seems to me we still don't have all the details. It seems to me that the Russian Air Force actually used this information because they had to provide a corridor for the pilot to land successfully. So they gave up all the information about air defenses and all the other stuff. So the Russian Air Force actually used that to destroy them, in an operation that was announced afterwards, after they revealed the plot, obviously. And only when all the operations were done, they revealed that the plot was prevented by the Russian intelligence. So there you go.
I just had a look over these last 6 or 7 articles that we've got left here. Guess what? More Iskanders, HIMARS, Neptunes. And quite a couple of them. Russia downs 4 ATACMS. Destroyed 2 launchers amid strikes on its undisputed territories.
For those who don't know, the HIMARS can actually launch the ATACMS and the M270 and the German-made Mars launchers. They all can launch the same missiles, including the ATACMS. So there you go. More HIMARS or HIMARS on steroids destroyed.
Time out with some FPV flying over Belgrade. Take a break from all those HIMARS and look forward to being the FPV pilot with the most flight hours once we get some FPV warfare going here in the neighborhood. How do you feel about VVIP assassinations? I feel like we should cover that in this.
Like, I think we could talk about it for at least like 20, 30 minutes.
I think the likelihood of one of those in the near future is much higher than it was in the past. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, Happy New Year. 2026 is going to be an interesting year. More interesting than 2025.
It always gets more and more interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've got some more news here. News from last year. Russian fighter destroys Patriot days after delivery from Germany. Money printer go brrr.
Yeah.
The EU.
Well, and the interesting thing is it's the new Su-30 SM-2, which is like the latest iteration of the Su-30 in the Russian aerospace forces. And I think it was just like 2 or 3 days after the Patriot was delivered from Germany that this jet managed to destroy it, which probably with the KH-31 supersonic anti-radiation missile.
A radar homing. Airbus chairman lies about 500 nuclear Iskander missiles in Russia's Kaliningrad Oblast.
Yeah.
What is he saying?
Well, according to the military sources I have, the Russians have about 25 launchers of the Iskander in the Kaliningrad Oblast, which is, of course, the exclave you mentioned in one of the previous articles. And according to him, they have 500 of those nuclear-tipped missiles that are 500 nuclear warheads on the 25 Iskanders. Now, I want to explain to people, the Russians really do have a lot of nukes, but they don't have that many nukes in the Kaliningrad Oblast, because that would mean that every single Iskander has about 20 nuclear warheads on every single missile. And there's only one missile that can do that in the Russian military, and that's the R-36 Voyvoda, which is better known as the Satan SS-18 in NATO, and also the new Sarmat. So essentially, this guy is lying in order to, let's say, nuclearize Eastern Europe, like to get an excuse to have more nukes and more weapons sent to Eastern Europe, specifically Poland. So when these guys lie, they should at least check the basic information that's available on freaking Wikipedia. But they're so delusional and arrogant, they don't bother to do even that. So they just go and spew this nonsense about 500 nukes on 25 Iskanders in Kaliningrad.
NATO, man. What can I say?
Yeah.
That they like their narratives for multiple purposes. Am I going to do a dive here? No, I'm going to go higher. We've got 3 more of these. Fu-57's export success marks new era in military sovereignty. Go on.
Well, I mean, for those who don't know, the Su-57 got its first export customer. Most likely Algeria. I mean, we know it's Algeria based on the paint scheme. And also there are several other countries that have shown interest and are in very late stages of negotiations to acquire the Su-57. And because I already mentioned the Indians and how they're going to get the Su-57, once you get the Su-57, it's yours. Nobody's controlling anything from Moscow. So yeah, if you want sovereignty, go for the Su-57. If you want to pay for your seat heaters, go for the F-35s.
Seat heater subscription model exclusively via the U.S. So, let's see what else we've got here. NATO demonstrates it can't even beat the Ukrainians, let alone Russia. Do you want to tell us what that's about?
Yeah, well, during the recent training missions where the NATO was supposed to train the Ukrainians, it turns out Ukrainians can actually train NATO because they have actual combat experience, much unlike NATO, which is still using manuals from the 1980s to train to fight the Russians. And when the Ukrainians brought their own FPV drones to show NATO how to fight, the Czechs and the Poles rose their voices against that because they said, and I quote, it was way too realistic. We should remove the FTVs. So yeah, there you go. The NATO cannot even defeat Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians have like 15-1 death ratio against the Russians. So yeah, NATO is going to win 100%.
FPV is useless. Obviously, it's
far better if you have like a 40-year manual for warfare. It's going to help you 100%, especially against the Russians now.
Definitely, technology has not evolved, and any attempts to, make use of new tech are futile. It's just
we know you're not flying anything here. It's all AI, man.
That's it. It's CGI is what it used to be called before AI became the buzzword. I think that's enough of this. Let's go back to here, and then we've got our final article. Believe it or not, we actually made it through Drago's top 110 articles of 2025. Yet another Bundeswehr secret plan for war with Russia leaked. You want to tell us what that's about?
Yeah. Well, the Germans are sick and tired of losing for the last 800 years. So now they realize they can win this. Like they can win this one 100%, man. Like this is their chance. Like they have to take it. It's definitely going to work this time. It doesn't matter that the Russians never had the 6,000 nuclear weapons in the last 800 years when they were fighting the Germans. Now that they do, the Germans definitely have a better chance. So that's the gist of the article, pretty much.
All right. Now we've got some memes here, because this is a comedy show, and it is the end of the year. So Happy New Year, first of all, to everyone. Merry Christmas. A little bit delayed and a little bit early, depending on which Christmas you celebrate. Happy Hanukkah. And as Erica Kirk would say, Shabbat Shalom. Remember Shabbat Shalom? It is what Charlie Kirk would have wanted you to remember. For those that didn't know and that didn't notice, she looks a lot like Bride of Chucky. I'm gonna just float that out there in case you didn't notice. Also, we've got this one from February 18th in chat. I sent this along. Thanks. The chat is full of all kinds of people. I can't blame them. But I try not to be heavy with the banhammer. But some of you guys make it really hard. Also, this was sent in. It really be like that when you start talking about geopolitics.
Yeah.
And
the most interesting thing to me about Erica Kirk is that she forgave the guy who killed her husband, but she didn't forgive Candace Owens. So that was a very, very interesting moment.
There's so many interesting moments. We could do like a week of specials. But that's why I just chose not to cover it, and I think that that wife of Chucky meme covers it pretty well. For those of you that don't know, merch will be coming out soon. All the patrons, I promise I will send you a shirt just like this one. Drago already got his. He's probably wearing it under the sweater. You can just nod and say that you are.
Yeah, I am. It's not in the washing machine at all. So.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I even washed this on 100 degrees, and it survived. So.
It's because of those Russian chips, man. Like they put them in missiles, so they have to make them robust enough. So.
That's what it is. There you go. Yeah. It's the washing machine chips. All right. I think we've pushed this as long as we needed to. We're already 1 hour and 25 minutes into this. The Kremlin notes Working Brothers merch drop. That's from Citizen 1001. And I think we've covered everything. We've done all the memes. We've done everything that we need to do. We've covered all the news that there was, all the jokes that needed to be joked about, including the people. We held back as much as was possible and tried to get around the YouTube algorithm. So, like, share, subscribe. And have a great new year, 2026. New START treaty and all that.
And don't forget the buzzword, HIMARS, the best system ever.
The news of 2025 summed up as HIMARS got destroyed. On that note, everyone, thanks for sticking around all year. See you next year. Have a good one. Drago, catch you later.
Catch you later, man.
Ciao.